All right, thank you, Rob. That's right, Indy Pro 2000, race number 1 of their 3 coming up right now here at Portland International Raceway. Phil, we've got 1 race down. We have another one on deck right now. I'm going to say it. I think something happens at turn 1. Call me crazy, but I have a feeling.
I don't even have to be a betting man to agree with you on that one. It's Rob works his way back into the booth here. It's been crazy. We saw it last year. We saw it in June. We've seen it already at first race, and we've got 8 more to go.
Absolutely. 15 cars on the track now, and again, it's Louis Foster's championship to lose. So we'll see what will happen going forward. But man, I'm excited. I'm really actually excited to see this series, especially more horsepower, a little bit bigger engines, bigger tires. This one is fascinating to me. Not that the other ones aren't, but this one is fascinating to me because these are the guys that we will see in the NTT IndyCar Series in 2, maybe 3 years.
We've already seen a couple guys from last year jump up.
Absolutely.
And you're right.
It's going to be fantastic. I'm excited to see what happens here. They'll run a couple pace laps, and then they're going to drop that green, and all bets are off what happens down into turn number 1. Man, I'm fired up. This series, I'm ready.
We know what's going to happen in turn 1.
Oh, yes, we do know what's going to happen in turn 1. Let's welcome Rob back in. Rob, what do you think is going to happen in turn 1?
Well, first and foremost, it's a lot warmer outside than it is in this trailer right now.
Feels good in here.
It is very nice in here right now. The heat's starting to get up. It was about 60 degrees when we got here in the morning, 75 degrees trackside right now. Beautiful sunny day, an absolutely gorgeous day for everybody here trackside for Fun Friday. But I'll tell you this, turn 1, this is the one thing I would expect. Drivers that come up to USF 2000 Indy Pro, they have the experience, a couple of years in that. We expect more out of them, more racecraft, more understanding as well. 6 of the drivers here of the 15 have been here before. They've gone through that opening complex before. So I'm going to cross my fingers that they're able to get the job done. There is a bit of a different mindset as well. Foster really has the championship kind of locked right now, so he doesn't need to force it. Gold knows that. He obviously doesn't want to wreck machinery. Could be a cleaner start, but again, it is so tough to get through there side by side. We'll see what happens if the drivers work their way to turn number 12. Time to go racing here for Indy Pro 2000. 6 races on the docket, 1 down, and it's time to go racing for Indy Pro 2000. Foster on the inside, Gold on the outside. They'll crawl their way up to the punch-off zone. It's time to go racing to the green line. Here we go. Green, green, green. Flag flying at start, finish. Now hold your breath. Maybe 3, 4, 5 wide. A couple of big lockups. You got guys driving down the inside. Maybe they did not work. Indeed, look at this. 4, 5, 6 drivers all involved. So there you go, folks. I hoped, I wished, I prayed. It did not come true. Drivers just overcooking it down into the corner. And this is the one thing, and you hope these drivers understand this. When you dive down to the bottom, nobody's been there all day. They weren't driving down there all yesterday. There's no grip down there. It's dirty. Anytime you dive to the bottom like that, you got to brake early.
You do.
Do you have a stop-and-go penalty if you miss the turn?
They have to go through the entire thing. If they haven't stopped, they could get a drive-through penalty. That's the problem. If you've not approached that corner correctly, where if you've cut the corner, you've got to come back way through, you could easily get either get on the radio and tell you to lose a couple spots, slow down for a lap, or potentially a drive-through penalty. That's, again, you'd hope the drivers would get through cleanly. Pretty good up front for the drivers who were able to do it, but it was further back. I think we saw drivers get super aggressive. Let's have a look at a replay here. We had another driver go off there, but let's have a look at the replay. Here's a good shot of it. You got 2 drivers pushing each other down to the bottom. There's no way you're getting through there. Contact from the back. Drivers further back. Everybody trying to funnel back in. There's the contact mid-corner there. One driver going around pretty aggressively. That was Kiko Porto who got hit from the right side. You see, I think Jonathan Brown coming through here. Also, one of the Pabst Racing drivers. I think that's Yuvan Sundermurli. He's coming around. There's Lindsey Brewer as well, I believe. No, that is... I think it's Jordan Missing coming through as well. Here's a better shot from the inside. There's the contact. So that's Jack William Miller going way too deep into the corner. He gets into the back of one of the D-Force cars, I believe Nolan Siegel. You can see Anam Ahmed trying to keep to the inside. So, yeah, Jack William Miller a little heavy down into the inside. Now, hard to see there. Did he get contact from behind as well? He came into the braking zone. He may have been tapped. One of the things when you come into a braking zone like that, everybody is at the limit, right? You're at the limit of the tires. You're asking as much as those Cooper tires can do. The minute you get pushed from the back, it can break loose that traction, and it takes a while to come back. So that was probably a chain reaction there, but we saw 100% that Jack William Miller getting into the back of the number 8 of Nolan Siegel. And again, This almost blows things out of the water already. Siegel, one of the drivers that was in the championship fight, trying to close up on Louis Foster. All Louis has to do is finish in the top 10 to win this championship, maybe even less now with Gold running P2.
That was pretty intense. I mean, again, you saw cars going in the back. The guy's going sideways, right? At that point, as you said earlier, hands off the wheel.
Take your hand off the wheel.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and wait to come around, see what's going on. Try to keep the revs up if you can. Get the get in the clutch.
Right.
What they say about this, and I'm not sure if you heard it before, but when you spin 2 feet in, so when you spin, you're clutch and brake. That way, the engine's going to still be running. You're stopping the car so it doesn't roll back. You've seen a lot of incidents where somebody gets off the brake and it rolls back into somebody else. When you spin 2 feet in, hold on to it, and then eventually once you start slowing down or you think you can control the spin, you can get back on it. So, again, that's kind of the issue a little bit here. We saw a bunch of drivers lock it up on the inside. Tough one for Siegel getting hit from behind. Don't know whether or not Jack William Miller had some help as well, but that was the contact, kind of midway through that front, maybe 4 back to 8 or 9. So everybody else settling back in. Foster with the lead now. Gold second. Anam Ahmed goes up to third. Marcos Flack from last to fourth. All those drivers having to go to the left side of the track, scoot their way through to be able to come through this area here, this bailout zone where you kind of have to get penalized coming through it. That allowed Marcos Flack and the Jay Howard driver development number 5 to go to fourth. He probably just checked up going into the corner, knowing the chaos was coming, and huge benefit for Flack as he comes out P4. Jonathan Brown up to 5th, Braden Eves in 6th, Salvador de Alba in 7th spot, 8th is Jordan Missick, 9th is Josh Green, 10th is Lindsey Brewer. She now has Bajoy Garg right behind her, and then 4 seconds back is Yuvan Sundaramurthy, Kiko Porto, Nolan Siegel, and I believe Jack William Miller, not sure whether he's back on the racetrack or not. Siegel's in pit lane and Porto is as well.
Things have kind of settled down now once we've got through there and got 4 laps in or 3 laps in, and they've kind of spread out a little bit.
30 laps the duration for the drivers here at Indy Pro 2000, and up front now by 0.8 of a second, Louis Foster, who, like I said, here's how he can win the championship. He can just start all 3 races, wins the title. He can finish 11th or better in this race and win the title. But a guy like this who's won these many races, you want to go out on top. You want to have the exclamation point on the end of your championship season. He wants to stand on top of the podium where we'll do one for the win and 1 for the championship as well. So Louis Foster looking to get the job done here for Exclusive Autosport, the team that scored the team championship last year, and will look to add their first Road to Indy driver championships. A lot of championships in F1600 racing for Exclusive Autosport, but the opportunity for them to win their first here in the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires.
I've never known a driver that didn't have to win that still didn't want to win. He's going to want to win.
He is. But the good thing about Louis, so let's go back to a couple of weeks ago at Worldwide Technology Raceway. We're on that 1.25 mile oval, super fast. He had a pretty good race car, but I'm not sure if it was one to win or not. He was right behind the battle for second and third. Probably could have got in there, put his elbows up, and fought for it. But 4th place was all he needed to get the points. The driver immediately in front of him, or behind him rather, Reese Gold was behind him on the racetrack. Didn't force the issue, didn't make any mistakes. That's why he's able to come in here in the situation he is in, because he handled the strategy perfect on the oval event in Madison, Illinois. That just a great run there, although not going to be it won't be the highlight of his year. He didn't get the victory there, but he'll be able to look back and go, the way we handled running at Worldwide Technology Raceway is what gave me the opportunity to come to Portland with such a lead.
Exactly.
Foster leading by 0.7 of a second. Reese Gold will put the hammer down, trying to close back up. And I would believe that if the fight got aggressive, I don't know that maybe Foster would keep fighting him, because knowing that he can come back and get it in race number 2. He wants this win for sure for Exclusive Autosport. And we look forward to celebrating the incredible achievements of all of our drivers at our championship celebration on Sunday evening. We'll be right on the river there at the Holiday Inn. Looking forward to a fantastic evening to, again, crown our champions, celebrate the top 3 team champions as well. Number of different awards that we hand out, Rookie of the Year, Spirit Award. Looking forward to all of that as part of the banquet on Sunday night. We're actually not on the racetrack on Sunday at all, so it'll be an easy day. Maybe come over and watch the IndyCar race, then go celebrate the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series later in the evening.
And what's nice is you guys do it right away. You do it right after the race weekend instead of waiting like some of the series 2 or 3 months.
Indeed, yeah. A lot of work.
Awesome.
A lot of work goes into getting that to happen. You know, all the stuff that we do for the presentation and the award ceremony itself. But we have a fantastic crew at the Road to Indy that gets all this done. So kudos to them. It's a lot of work. They'll have a deep sigh of relief when it's all said and done on Sunday evening. But yeah, we'll cap things off there and look forward to the 2023 season. Again, and that really gets started. We have our fall combine, the Road to Indy Fall Combine, which was formerly the Chris Griffiths test at the road course at Indianapolis. That's happening on October the 22nd and 23rd, and a great opportunity for so many young drivers to come and sample USF 2000, Indy Pro 2000, and this year USF Juniors equipment as well ahead of coming to run. They get kind of a tryout for the teams, tryout for all the drivers as well, that fall combine. Looking forward to that. Foster out to the pretty nice lead. And that was Marcos Flack in the J. Howard Driver Development number 5, able to come through there. He qualified, had some issues in qualifying, was dead last. He was the driver who went off in qualifying. But a really good run for Marcos, the Australian driver who is running over in Europe this year. But during this kind of off time with a couple open weekends, electing to come over and sample this Indy Pro 2000 program. And he has been very impressive. Top 10 finish on the oval. A worldwide technology race with that event won by his teammate Salvador de Alba. But as the leaders work their way through 1 and 2, you can see Ahmed there in 3rd, then Flack in 4th. Just a really good run for Marcos Flack. And again, that was a wise move. Started last. There's no need to charge into turn number 1, knowing potential chaos is there. He held back. Everybody went off track. He drove around them all. Finds himself in P4.
There you go.
Indeed. And we'll actually look. I don't think he'll be able to get down to a fast lap. Now, granted, the cars are going to start going lighter and lighter as they start to burning fuel. We'll see where he is on fast lap time, because there is a potential possibility. He was a 109.6. Fast lap right now, 109.3 for gold. So maybe Flack could find some more pace to move himself a little bit further up as the fuel load goes down. And again, super early in this race, as we know, 7 laps down, still 23 to go. So at the end of this race, these Cooper tires, the one thing about it is, the first 5 laps where you're qualified, that's when you're going to get the maximum. But the consistency after that is huge. As this car gets lighter and lighter burning fuel, there may be an opportunity. And the temperature's going up. The grip levels are going down. Going up. There's a good possibility that Marcos Flack could find a lap that moves him further from the tail of the field up the order for the start of race number 2 this afternoon. That's one of the things. We still have a couple races still to come here for both USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000. Today we'll go green flag racing at 4 o'clock this afternoon with USF 2000. And then I believe 5 o'clock scheduled start time for our second race for Indy Pro, right ahead of ARCA practice, which will roll out here later on this evening.
What you're saying is Bobby and I, we're all going to be here a while today.
You guys, I'll be getting out of here as soon as I possibly can, but you guys are going to be here for a while.
We love it, though. We wouldn't be here if we didn't.
I'm exactly the same. It's one of the beautiful things about being part of the Road to Indy. I'm here early, and I'm usually here late. And again, great to see these young drivers, and great to get a chance to work with you guys here, being part of the Grand Prix of Portland. Up front, this is a battle. I don't think it's going to be done quite yet. Foster versus Gold. Again, this is first and second in the championship fight here right now. When it comes to points, Louis Foster only needs to be 67 points ahead of Gold going into race number 2. So at the end of this race, if he's up by 67, he wins the championship, because there's only 33 points up for grabs in any one race. So 66 points total left after this race. Right now, he's rolling with about an 83-point lead. So even if Reese Gold gets by, he'll still have the opportunity to secure this championship with a second-place finish. But as Phil and I said, a driver wants to win. That's why they're race car drivers. That's why they're champions, because if the opportunity to win is there, they're going to go for it. And that's the beauty of this program right now. We'll take an opportunity to say hello to those of you who are tuning in on the Road to Indy TV app, or potentially watching on the Road to Indy YouTube channel, or on IndyPro2000.com. We wish you were here trackside, because it is a beautiful day here in Portland, and I know that people are going to be pouring in here throughout the weekend. A lot of media being done. IndyCar drivers, of course, on radio stations. A big open welcome party last night. We had some of our Road to Indy drivers there, too. This is a fantastic event up here in the Pacific Northwest, and Portland, of course, rolling out the red carpet for IndyCar, and we're thrilled to be part of it and looking forward to what should be a packed house. Interesting for me, we did the qualifying session this morning. As I got over the bridge and walked back to our paddock, which is located on the outside of turn number 12, same place as the ARCA paddock, You could see people filing in. Cars were coming in. I was having to dodge people. You know it's going to get more and more packed. But on a Friday morning, people coming in, that's exciting for sure.
I would take the day off of work to be here.
100% I would, yeah.
And they can be here tomorrow, too, folks. Tickets still available all the way through Sunday.
Lead just a half a second now for Louis Foster over Reese Gold. You can see them coming through now. Turns number 5 and 6. Again, a very flowing part of the racetrack. I talked to Anam Ahmed about the track, asked him what he thought. He said he reminded him of some of the European tracks that he had driven on, some of the UK tracks. So I know he feels very comfortable here. We talked to Jason Denmark as well on the podium. He absolutely loves this track, very flowing. And, of course, you love it when you're up front. Let's just be real. When you're winning and it suits your style, you love it. But almost every driver I talk to in the paddock says it's just fantastic to be here. Obviously, a much different area. And, again, we talked about this earlier. Really a level playing field for most of the drivers. There are 6 racers in this particular field who have been here before, have run on this racetrack back in 2019 in USF 2000. But for the most part, no one's been here in a couple of years. They haven't had a test this year. These cars are different, of course, as well. We have, of course, the new center section, a new carbon tub that's a bit wider than the old one to be able to facilitate the halo we have, the increased safety in both Indy Pro 2000 and USF 2000. So the dynamics of the race cars are going to change a little bit, of a higher center of gravity. So not exactly the same. Yeah, you know the racetrack, you know the way to turn, but every track's a bit different, right?
And coming to Portland, a lot of these people, you always kind of think, well, maybe we're going to have that wet step. But they got so lucky this weekend for all 3 days. It's been that way the summer here, pretty much, though. And so the weather turned out perfect for them. One thing they did not have to worry about was the weather.
Yeah, I love that for sure, is the fact we got this gorgeous weekend coming. It's going to be warm. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be a hot weekend, so make sure you stay hydrated. If you're trackside, please do what you can to take in as much liquids as you can throughout the entire day. We appreciate that. We don't want anybody struggling to get through and having to go to medical. So just make sure you keep yourself hydrated, and you'll be good to go throughout the weekend. Our drivers all doing the same, of course, because it will be warm inside these race cars, especially come tomorrow. I think it'll be a little bit warmer tomorrow than it is today. But otherwise, these drivers doing a tremendous job. And again, they're all super physically fit. This is what they train for. This is why you're on the treadmill. You're doing all the work that you need to be done to make sure you're at peak physical condition to be able to handle everything you need to be behind the wheel in these kind of conditions.
And you do have a race coming this evening, and that is usually when it gets even a little bit warmer here. That's about our time of day.
Well, that's good to know. It's going to be nice and warm when we go racing this afternoon. I think it's a 4 o'clock start for USF 2000, 5 o'clock green flag for Indy Pro. So we'll cap off the day with a couple of more races for you ahead of ARCA practice. Foster and Gold now 4.5 seconds out from Anam Ahmed. You can see the gap there. There's first, second. That's where they run in points as well. There's Anam Ahmed by himself in third. There's, again, in fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Wow, let's all line them up right there. Flack, Brown, Eves, DeAlba, Missig, Green, and Brewer now capping off the top 10. Braden Eves started back in 13th. He has driven himself up to P6. Looking at the lap time for Marcos Flack again. I don't think he's got down to where it needs to be here. Reese Gold, a 109.3. Yes, he's a second off where he was in qualifying. But Marcos Flack's a driver that could potentially lay a lap down here that may help him move forward. We'll see if he's able to get that lap as the fuel load starts going down for Flack. But he's going to be challenged here in a bit potentially by Jonathan Brown. Let's see how far. Brown's less than a second back, was quicker by about a tenth. Josh Green, I think, sliding by the inside of Brewer there. So Josh Green runs in 9th, Lindsey Brewer in 10th. A good top 10 run here for Lindsey Brewer. She has found speed throughout this entire weekend. So again, last time by, Brewer at 110.2, Sooner Murthy 110.2. A couple of drivers at 110 flat. Eves at 110.2. Brown at 110.5. So Brewer turning pretty good lap times. And she's a story we've been watching throughout the year. You know, a young lady who I had the fortune to watch in karting back probably about a decade ago, but she's worked hard. She's been driving when she can. She did some Skip Barber racing, some touring car racing last year, and was able to put a program together, the budget to come here for Indy Pro 2000. And every time we've come to the track, she doesn't have the experience of these drivers, so she ends up starting the weekend significantly back, sometimes 3.5 seconds, but every session she's dropping a half a second, a full second, getting herself closer. She was 3 seconds back to start yesterday, ended up being about 2 seconds off, then found a full second in qualifying, and here she is now running top 10. A great drive here for Lindsey Brewer and that C4 Smart Energy exclusive Autosport entry.
As we approach the halfway, this race has gone by fast.
It is a long one, though. 30 laps in total for the drivers in Indy Pro 2000 as a 1.1 second now a lead for Louis Foster. He's got 15 laps to go and looks to be pulling away from Reese Gold. Both, in fact, I would say first, second, and third place drivers all destined for Indy Lights next year. Foster potentially with the championship, was he'll very likely lock that today. Reese Gold and Anam Ahmed for Juncos Hollinger Racing have both told me that their focus is on Indy Lights for next year. So I think we're going to see maybe a 16 to 18 car grid for Indy Lights next year. That's my thought, potentially. There's a lot of interest in that program, that final step before getting into the NTT IndyCar Series, and that bodes well. And I've talked a lot about this, and I think, Bobby, you and I might have talked about it in the podcast as well. One of the big issues we had with Indy Lights car count at one point was we did a transition back in 2017, 2018 to a new car at Indy Pro 2000. And that year, with the last year with the old Pro Formula Mazda, which ran for, I want to say, probably 18 years, it was a fantastic race car, was we only had 6 full-time drivers in what was a shorter season that year as people transitioned waiting for the next year for the new car. And so with only 6 full-time drivers, it took a while for us to spool things back up. When you only have 6 full-time drivers, only one driver graduated that next year in Indy Lights, and that was Victor Franzoni with the scholarship. So as we've been able to better develop Indy Pro 2000, that pool's got bigger, so the graduation pool bigger moving up to Indy Lights. We may see as many as 4 or 5 drivers, maybe even 6, come out of Indy Pro 2000 into Indy Lights next year.
Which would be big because for the longest time, Indy Lights has always been a great step ladder into the IndyCar Series. However, like you said, you had years where you might have 10 cars, 11 cars.
8, 9, 10 at one point, but then, 10, 11, yeah.
And again, if you got to build that series to build the next level. Now, I will say this. That's going to put a lot of pressure on team owners and principals in the NTT IndyCar Series because a lot of them have, dual programs, Indy Lights and IndyCar. But if you can increase the number of entrants in Indy Lights, that only benefits everybody,
Indeed.
Right?
Yeah, 100% for sure. And in the Indy Lights program, we know that Andretti. We've got, of course, HMD Motorsports, which has run as many as 6 cars already this year. TJ Speed was in there. We know a couple new teams coming out. Of course, Abel Motorsports is running 2 cars this weekend. Jacob Abel and, of course, Flynn Lazier racing as well. Cape Motorsports moving from USF 2000 up next year. There's a lot of rumors on who could potentially be in their 2 cars. Potentially Legacy Autosports picked up a car as well. So the key is finding the cars that we can get onto the racetrack. But I know I've talked to Levi Jones, the director of Indy Lights, would love to see 18 cars next year. I think that would be a huge momentum shift for Indy Lights. And again, like I've said, I believe it's been building since the Indy Pro 2000. Kind of the linchpin for it has grown. Yes, Indy Lights known throughout the world. The budget not overly crazy, significantly less even than F3. So there's an opportunity for more drivers to come to Indy Lights than move to IndyCar as opposed to knowing that so hard it is to get into F1. So I think with Indy Pro growing as it is, you're going to see a lot of drivers looking to go Indy Lights over the next couple of years.
Let me ask you this real quick, and not to, discredit any team owners in Indy Lights, but how important is Andretti Autosport to open wheel racing in the terms of the fact that they're putting money into Indy Lights, they're putting money in other places where maybe some teams aren't?
I think where you go with Andretti Autosport is that they were there as half the field at one point when there was only 8 or 9 cars. And we've had some tremendous owners in Indy Lights. You go back to a Brian Bellardi from Bellardi, Bellardi Auto Racing as well. But Andretti they were that stable foundation that was always going to field 4 or 5 cars. So when there was times when it was tough, Michael was there, right, to make sure that there was going to be at least X amount of drivers, which was great. So that's what you got to say to them. Now they're smart. If I'm an IndyCar team, I would want to have an Indy Lights program, not even just for drivers, but the bottom line is it's hard to find mechanics sometimes and engineers and whoever it may be, even PR people, whatever it is, right? So when you have a program like that, even like a Juncos Racing, who, if they're able to get their Indy Lights program back going again, we're hearing rumors that they may go to 2 cars in IndyCar next year with, of course, Hollinger coming in to make it a partnership there with Ricardo Juncos. They got Indy Pro, Indy Lights, and IndyCar, right? So they're able to develop crew and work their way up because we always say it's not just the road to Indy for drivers, it's the road to Indy for the crew as well. A lot of people in the industry as well.
That's very smart. And a lot of people obviously don't think about that. Hey, but again, STEM, we talk about that a lot, especially, in the Northwest. You're in they call it the Silicon Forest, right? Where you have Intel and Tektronix and all these things. So if you're in the stands and you are interested in careers in science, technology, engineering, math, look to this. I ran into a friend of mine, a guy and a lady that I know from my time when I worked for the University of Oregon and Ducks football. And their son was here. They were here in June for the Xfinity race. And the son was like, no, I'm at an engineering school back east. And I was like, oh, do you want to get into like this? He goes, no, open wheel's my thing. He goes, I love the science. I love the fact that, the technology is there. And I was like, that to me, again, was a spark. People are coming to races today that are going to be in the paddock 10, 15 years from now on cruise.
And the amazing thing right now is that they're always looking for passionate, talented people to be part of IndyCar, to be part of the Road to Indy. All you got to do is pick up the phone, drop the email, say, hey, listen, this is what I do. I'd love to come in and talk to you guys. Everybody's always looking for passionate people to be part of it. So if you're an engineer or you want to be a mechanic or whatever it may be, contact me at the Road to Indy or anybody at the Road to Indy. I can hook you up with whoever it may be in our program or potentially an IndyCar. A lot of our people are, of course, based in Brownsburg, Indiana, or somewhere around in the Indianapolis area. So there are so many opportunities, and I think that's something that's been shown to a lot of fans that, hey, if you want to be in this industry, there are careers available. You got to work your tail off, but you're going to love it because you're going to be in racing full time.
Absolutely, and you see it a lot, especially the IMS Twitter feeds. Doug Boyles, president of Indianapolis Motor Speedway, constantly tweeting about it. Jay Douglas with the IndyCar series. Again, hey, listen, here's our link to these are the available jobs. Or if we don't have a job, drop your resume in, and we will call you.
That's exactly that. Yeah, and it's cool. We talked about that as I walk up and down the pit lane, the paddock area for IndyCar. I'm seeing guys that I've seen in the Road to Indy paddock. I'm high-fiving them. They've made the move up to a full-time deal, which is amazing. And some guys will go to full-time at IndyCar, then come back to the Road to Indy because it's maybe a little less stress to be part of an IndyCar program. But man, that's what you want to do if you're a race fan, man. You want to be working on a car. You want to celebrate in the successes and the defeats of the team, and you're not just on the grandstands, you're actually on pit lane. So that's the amazing thing about this program. It's a community that's available for people that want to come and play, for sure.
And in today's world, if you want a job, there's a job available.
That's very true, 100% that. Louis Foster now leading by 2.3 seconds. So coming into Portland, there was obviously the focus. Everybody talking about the championship calculations. Where did Louis Foster need to finish? Does he just need to start? Where does he need to finish in the first race? Some people, of course, nervous about it. But the bottom line is, it doesn't matter when you're winning races. And I mentioned this at Worldwide Technology Raceway. If he's able to walk in and win this race, he's going to win the championship. And so many drivers I've talked to, the minute we get kind of midway through and I start talking championships, you're leading the points by X amount. Are you thinking championship? And each of them is going to say, hey, I'm just out here to win races, because if I win races, the championship will take care of itself. Right?
Absolutely. And again, you see that not just with Indy Pro 2000. You see Indy Lights. You see it with IndyCar. Guys want to win. Guys want points.
Look at this racing we got further back here now. I'm telling you, there are guys going at it tooth and nail still. Josh Green on Salvador de Alba. That's the run right there. Coming onto the front straightaway. Even Sooner Murley not that far back. Braden Eves and Jordan Missing just up in front of them. Green is looking really aggressive, really racy right now as he's trying to find a way by Salvador de Alba, the driver who won just 2 weeks ago at Worldwide Technology Raceway on the oval. Again, De Alba from Mexico for Michel Jourdain, runs down there in the NASCAR Mexican Series and the Supercopa Series. He's a race winner, a championship winner down there. Transitioning into open wheel with a focus on the NTT IndyCar Series. And again, really impressive how he's gone quicker and quicker throughout the season. He's now fighting it out here with Green. That would be for 8th spot. As here's your order right now. Foster, Gold, Ahmed, Flack, and Brown, top 5. Eves, though, not that far behind Jonathan Brown. Missing in 7th. Great for Jordan Missing running P7, coming off a qualified crash at Worldwide Technology Race where they took him out of the race, where they were not able to get the car fixed to get him on track. So for him to roll in here, run 7th. Awesome job for Jordan Missing. De Alba 8th, Green 9th, Sooner Murthy rounding out the top 10, Bejoy Garg in 11th, and Lindsey Brewer rounding out the 12 drivers that remain on the racetrack right now. I don't know if Jack William Miller potentially back out on track. I think he may be, yeah. It looks like he's banged out about 16 laps. So they were able to fix the car of Jack William Miller, which I think is a good thing. Get him back out. Work on that car, let him have more seat time to potentially be better. There's still 2 more races here on the weekend, so for Jack William Miller, why not put your head down, drive the car, see what the car's going to feel like as it gets a little lower on the fuel tanks, the tires start wearing out a little bit. That's the experience he'll need to potentially be able to excel and work his way further up the grid, Bobby, in race number 2 and 3.
No, I totally agree with you. And again, let's go back and look at the top 3 right now. They not only are the points leaders, the guys that are most likely going to graduate out to Indy Lights this year, they're 20 seconds out.
Yeah, but again, primarily because they're the ones that were able to get through the chaos, right? They were able to get through there. That's why Marcos Flack is right there. Now, remember, Marcos has got the pace, but probably somewhere in the lower top 10, just outside the top 10. He hasn't shown top 5 pace throughout this weekend, so he's doing a great job there in P4, but Jonathan Brown slowly reeling him in. He's been a couple of tenths of a second quicker a lap. So with 7 laps to go, we may see a fight for 4th, but Marcos Flack still holding on to the position. But those leaders able to get through turn 1, 2, and 3 cleanly. They left the chaos behind them. That put so many drivers, some of them out of the race. Miller, Siegel, and Porto. Miller has been able to turn some laps, but he's back into pit lane. I wonder whether or not they would put Miller starting in he started in 7th. I was wondering whether they put fresh tires on Miller to see if he could lay a lap down. He's at a 109.8. His best lap, 108.7 in qualifying, so nowhere close there. But again, that was the chaos up front. Everybody else kind of battling it away. Braden Eves working his way forward. He's been the best in terms of moving forward other than Marcos Flack. Flack up into 4th. Braden Eves started 13th, and he is now up into 6th. The 7-position improvement for the driver from New Albany, Ohio, a former USF 2000 champion. And always great to see Braden back on the racetrack because we had a horrific accident back in 2020 where he got upside down at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and actually had a neck injury, a head injury. Was in the hospital for a little bit, but they was able to come right back. Was actually in the seat of a cart a couple of months later and was end up testing and was back at it in 2021, back with his exclusive Autosport team and was able to win races last year. Has since moved back to Jay Howard Driver Development, who he started his car racing career with. And we've seen Eves already on the top of the box this year. Was a race winner midway through the season as well. Again, a very talented driver. Braden Eves winning at Road America there. Started 4th, got the win in the second round of that doubleheader.
Let me ask you this about qualifying. Are they going out with limited fuel, or is it a full fuel load when they go out for qualifying?
No, they'll go out definitely with limited. Well, remember, they're going to run a 20-lap session, right? So they know what they can do. But, yeah, so they're not going to – I would not say that they would run it to the very bottom, but they do get pretty close. They don't run with a lot of fuel in the car at all when they do go for qualifying. And again, then in practice, that's when they've done full fuel kind of race simulator runs. Right. You don't really do that all the time in practice. You may do that at the end of a practice session. You've done a full run, bring it in, and then put the sticker tires on, or do the sticker tires potentially first when the car's a little colder, and then go back out and do that race run. Right,
because that makes sense. You were saying, in qualifying, certain speeds, obviously, again, new tires, limited fuel, cars super light, really good grip. You'll be able to throw a fast lap down. So trying to match that then in the race. It's not done, but it's difficult, more difficult to do.
Exactly. More times they would get it down. It's more because of the extra grip added to the racetrack. Because normally when we're here, we're on track before IndyCar. Like, so IndyCar hasn't even been on the racetrack yet, so we're running on our own grip. When IndyCar finally goes out and lays it down, it'll be a lot different racetrack. And I'm always interested in seeing what the drivers say when they finally got onto the racetrack after IndyCar. What's it going to be like? Because IndyCar has a bit of a different line as well, with obviously the horsepower and the characteristics of the race car. They have a more shallow entry into the corners than we do, where we're trying to roll way out to get a lot of corner speed. So a lot of the times our drivers will be actually crisscrossing over the IndyCar rubber and then going back out to where our own rubber is. So it's always interesting, of course, the different compounds as well. We're Cooper, we'll have Firestone. Sometimes we have different. We're going to have Hoosier rubber down here as well for Arcus. So there's going to be a bunch of different compounds on the racetrack. It's a pretty sizable lead for Louis Foster. And again, not only is there a race win at the end of this, with only a couple laps remaining here now, 4 laps to go, it is over $614,000. Pretty much locked and loaded before he got here anyways. But again, trying to do it in style. The British driver from the UK dialing things in. The leaders are coming back down. Here comes Jack William Miller back out onto the racetrack again. He'll let everybody kind of roll through here as he gets back out with open racetrack. Look at this, though. I want to say that is potentially 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th on top of each other. One driver's gone off too deep. Yuvan Sooner-Murthy trying to go, I believe, to the inside of Josh Green. Yeah, he was right there on Green's gearbox, so he was looking to make the move to the inside. Not able to get it done, so he'll lose a spot or two. And Sooner-Murthy having to take the escape route through the 1-2-3 combination. But Flack now has Jonathan Brown right there, Braden Eves, Jordan Missig. 4 drivers lining up 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Hold on, this was not done at all. at least outside the top three, because first, second, and third pretty evenly spaced out right now. Foster with almost 3 seconds over Gold. Another, I want to say 5 or 6 seconds back, maybe more even to Anam Ahmed. That was 7, making almost 8 seconds back to Anam Ahmed, who runs in third. But again, Juncos Hollinger Racing, P2 and P3. And we talked about Anam Ahmed, and again, living in London, but born in Pakistan. And of course, coming into the weekend, we're all, obviously our hearts go out to everyone in Pakistan. Severe flooding there, millions of people displaced from their homes, the death toll rising from that flooding. And talking to Anam, he knows a number of people, or knew rather, sadly, who have perished in that natural disaster. And so he's racing this weekend for the people of Pakistan. If you go to his social media channel, he has a link to a website that is raising donations to try to help out whenever possible, however possible, for the people that are out of their homes. And you can check it out on social media as well. We'll share a bunch of stuff. We had Anam do a little bit of an interview with us as well. So I'm sure Anam racing with a heavy heart right now, but really wanting to get himself up on the podium here, P3.
Absolutely, and I think it's so important that you said he's going to go back home and try and help in any way possible. So that obviously is weighing on him, but good for him. Solid running. We're coming to the just past leaders have passed start finish. We got 2 to go. Rob, it's time to bring it home. Let's get the checkers.
That's it. Louis Foster has done it throughout this season, and we've talked a lot about Louis and all the broadcasts that we've done. He did not win until the final race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. When he got here, he'd never driven these Cooper tires before. It took him a little bit of time to really get a good feel for them during qualifying. He qualified 4th and 5th in the opening round, 5th and 6th at round number 2 at Barber Motorsports Park. Got a handle on the tires at Indianapolis, though. Qualified second, ended up getting a win, and then went on a run where he really has been in the top 5. He's been on the podium, to be honest, 6 times over the last 9 races. Top 5 as well. No, 7 times of 9 races. Top 5, 8 of the last 9. Only issue was a 13th place finish at Road America. He has been the dominant driver through the second half of the season. Louis Foster in the Copart Tatis IP22 will see the white flag as they work across start-finish, the exclusive Autosport driver. This will be big for Michael and Kimberly Duncalf as well. They won the team championship last year with the pairing of Braden Ease and Artem Petrov, but they have not yet won that prestigious and lucrative driver championship here on the road to Indy. They are going to get the job done here. Exclusive Autosport, a fantastic team, making the move to Brownsburg, Indiana. They're actually a Canadian team that was based in Saskatoon. The family has moved to Indiana to really focus on this program. They have an F1600 championship series as well. Joey Brienza runs with them and that team. They're moving into USF Juniors next year as well, our development program. Of course, they're in USF 2000 and Indy Pro. Have tried to get into the Indy Lights program in the last couple of years, but have been thwarted by, number one, COVID. I would not be surprised to see an Indy Lights program eventually come to exclusive Autosport, but this will be the first driver championship. The Englishman has come over. He has done incredibly well throughout his career, coming through British F4, British F3, and Euro Formula. But his first championship is here in the United States of America, coming across the line to score the win. And the championship for exclusive Autosport, Louis Foster winning in Portland. The front end of the triple header, and he got the job done. Exclusive Autosport celebrating on the pit wall. Michael and Kimberly Duncalf, the engineer John Hayes, the whole crew, a part of Exclusive Autosport, celebrating a 2.1 second victory for Louis Foster. He wins the race and the title over Reese Gold. Will very likely lock in second place in the championship here. Anam Ahmed, his teammate, rounding out the podium, so a couple of Juncos Hollinger Racing drivers on the podium. Marcos Flack taking advantage of the avoidance of the chaos in turn 1, 2, and 3 on the opening circuit. He goes P4 over Jonathan Brown. A strong run for Jonathan Brown, the Irishman, for turn 3 motorsport. Jordan Missy, a great run up into 6th. Braden Eves 7th. Salvador de Alba 8th. Josh Green and Bejoy Garg rounding out the top 10. I'll tell you, Bobby and Phil, for Louis Foster, he came in here knowing all he had to do was start all 3 races, but that's where he wanted to be at the end of race number 1, because that means we're having a celebration in Victory Lane, not just 1 but 2. He'll celebrate winning the race, but he'll also get that big trophy from Dan Anderson from Anderson Promotions and Chris Pantani from Cooper Tires. He is our first champion of the 2022 season.
It is time to celebrate, my friend. Let's get out there and enjoy that. All right, so Rob is going to head out there. He will head out to Victory Lane. Welcome in Louis Foster, your champion in Indy Pro 2004, 2022. Man, what a fantastic race. That one was a lot of fun. And like I said, going into it, I was interested to see how this would react with it being bigger cars, more grip. But, man, I thoroughly enjoyed this race.
Pretty much caution-free, too.
Oh, exactly. Again, turn one, we talked about that, but we know it's going to happen. So that was a fantastic race. So race fans, I hope you guys are enjoying this. Weather's starting to heat up. It's 80 degrees out there right now. We're looking at the track temperature. Turn 10, 11, and 12, 114 degrees.
Wow.
116 degrees over in turns 5 and 6. Front straight just cracked the century mark, and then the back stretch, which has been in the shade for some of the morning, is now up to 96. So track temps are coming up. Tires are going to start, laying down a little bit more rubber. It's going to be a fantastic afternoon of racing. We've got 2 races down. We've got 2 to go today. USF 2000 back on track for their second race. Indy Pro 2000, the guys you just saw, will be back on the track tonight. We get our first practice session with the NTT Indy cars. Man, we have a full entire afternoon still to go.
And I like what Rob said, how the tires, now we're going to switch tires, different brand coming on the track, and then coming back to the Cooper tires again.
Yep, we got Cooper tires. We will have the the Firestone tires laid down by the IndyCar series. So, man, it's just a fantastic afternoon. Louis Foster out of the car now, gets the hugs, gets the kisses from family, friends, teammates. Congratulations all around. Cruz is excited. Man, it's a championship, right? It's great to have a race win, but to clinch a championship, even better.
Bobby, thank you so much indeed. Our first championship of the 2022 season here on the road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires, as the Indy Pro 2000 point leader got the job done, putting what we call an exclamation point on the end of a tremendous season. We'll bring him up here in a little bit. We have some of our guys from Cooper Tires to help us out with award presentations, and Danny Anderson as well. But let's get started with the driver coming home in third place today, folks, for Hookers Hollinger Racing. A round of applause for Anam Ahmed.
In between the practice, maybe, between practices.
And to bring Anam his trophy, Gavin Johnson from Cooper Tires, our Cooper Tires tech guys who are trackside with us all the time to make sure that the tires are where they need to be, and of course inspecting all the tires that come off. Gavin, thank you so much, and a great job for Anam. Finishing in second spot here, and will very likely end up as the runner-up in the championship this year. We've had him in this program for a number of years. I expect him to go to Indy Lights next year, but it's also his birthday today, folks. Second place for Reese Gold, the birthday boy for Hookos Hollinger. Rob Farrell from Cooper Tires will bring Reese his trophy. Reese put the pressure on as much as he could throughout that race. It's been a great season for Reese Gold, of course, a winner in USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000 now, and he's been a tremendous driver here on the road to Indy. The driver scoring the victory here today to get the job done. He wins the championship here and $614,000 of scholarship to move into Indy Lights. Also the first driver championship for Michael and Kimberly Duncalf from Exclusive On Sport. The winner today, a round of applause for Louis Foster! Louis, they got us right in front of the stage, so don't fall off. Obviously, mid-season, you came on in a big way. You come into this weekend after what was a really good run, I think, at Worldwide Technology Raceway. You got the points you needed, kind of gave you the cushion here, but finishing it off with a race win makes it all the more sweeter.
Yeah, 100%. I went into this weekend kind of knowing that, we just had to bag some points to get the job done, but I didn't really want to end the season that way. I wanted to go out fighting. Yeah, the aim all the last 2 weeks has been to win race one. I'm glad we did that.
Now, can you focus now on the remaining 2 races, or are you thinking about 2023 and that Indy Lights car already?
Well, there's still 2 races left to go. So, no, 100%. I think I don't know where we start for race 2. I think maybe pole, if not second. So, again, try and win that race, and then same as the last one. So, yeah, the mindset doesn't change. But, yeah, obviously it's great to be champion.
Who do you want to thank here?
Obviously, all the guys at Exclusive and the girls, they've done an amazing job all year. Without them, we wouldn't be here. John has been an amazing engineer. Derek's been amazing on the spanners. Yeah, and then obviously all my sponsors, Copart, Pajazi. Yeah, I just can't thank everyone enough.
Nicely done. Get up on top of the podium. He's a race winner and a champion, folks. What a drive today for Louis Foster. Dan Anderson, the CEO of Anderson Promotions, will bring in the first place trophy, and then we'll ask the drivers to work their way off. Other than Louis, as we have a presentation to come here still with the championship trophy. And again, following in the a long line of tremendous drivers who have won here in the Indy Pro 2000 category and will then work their way forward to Indy Lights next year. And we look forward to, of course, our championship celebration on Sunday evening as well. But all three of these drivers are ones that we are looking forward to watching next year in the Indy Lights program. Louis for sure, but we expect to see both Anam and Reese there as well. And that's our job, to develop these young drivers for Indy Lights. And we look forward to seeing them, again, just one step away from the NTT IndyCar Series. Got the champagne spray will come, of course, when we wrap things up. And then we'll cap it off with the championship award presentation as well. I always say that early in the weekend, you're not going to see these drivers spray each other, as they got to wear these suits again. Later today. Oh, Reese is going to go right at it. Louis Foster's going at it as well. The champagne going. Louis Foster still on the top of the box as your race winner. Congratulations to Louis Foster. But there's still one more trophy to come. Anam Ahmed has already worked his way, of course, off. And then we'll get Reese there. A little high five. And one more trophy still to come, folks, because this is the big one here. He worked his tail off all year, as is his team as well. He mentioned John Hayes, and of course, he is mechanic Derek as well, to put this car on the racetrack, capable of winning each and every race. Let's get that shot here with the flag here as well, the Brit. Thank you. Celebration for this driver. A couple drivers actually from the British Formula 3 program. Anam Ahmed, a former champion. Of course, Louis as well, a top driver in British Formula 3 as well. But that one trophy still waiting in the wings. Chris Pantani from Cooper Tires. Dane Anderson as well from the Anderson Promotions crew will be here. Present him with that championship trophy. We'll take that back and award it again. We'll have Chris Pantani, Dan Anderson, and Michelle Kish up on the podium there to present this trophy. And here it comes again, folks. This is something that started back in St. Petersburg, this run here for Louis Foster to try to get it done. There's the champion's hat will go on. And again, you think about all the work, the hard work put in by Louis on the racetrack, on the simulator, the team back in Brownsburg, everyone working their tail off in the engineering room at the shop, making sure these cars are ready for each and every race weekend, each and every session. And he went on a tear second half of the season. Folks, he's got the trophy. If you're standing here, please a round of applause. Our first champion of the 2022 Road to Indy season, presented by Cooper Tires, Louis Foster, an exclusive Autosport, winning the title in Indy Pro 2000.